welcome back to the Monday edition of Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard John, and Disembodied Ears, Kariniko. I see you there, Kuro. I see you with the resub. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the resub. Prime sub for 68 months. That's a very long time. Very cool. Super awesome. We're almost to the sextuple subversary. Yep. Highs. I'm just seeing if I missed anybody else being cool. You're all cool, of course, all the time. But just checking. All right, there we go. All right, so we has Giant Sophie today. Giant Sophie. I want to do the wings really reflective, but I might want to do stuff with the armor that's the same reflecting colors in the environment. So let's, because it's big enough, it's a big model. I feel like it's more effective to do a reflective light on a bigger model. So I definitely want a blue for the sky. So I'm going to let you guys choose. Let's see here. Let me just drag out the blues that are contenders. Contender blues, where are you? We could go really bright. We could go more like Templar. Alrighty. Yeah, you know. Let's see here. We got Dragon, True. This is my new rollout. They kind of go like that. So darkest to lightest. Plus I've got Templar in there because Ashen is usually my sky reflection color. I might still mix like a drop of this in. I might still, like if we pick blue, True, I'll probably still mix in a little bit of Sapphire. I'm not sure. What blue do you guys want me to use? This will be for sky reflection. I was originally thinking something pretty vibrant, but I'm open to Templar if that's what people want to use. It's just, that's what I always use, so. Or Ashen anyway, which is Templar plus white, more or less. You want Dragon? The Old Bones Dragon Blue, very popular color. Covers very well. I have Dragon, Sapphire. Quiddy just wants something with pop. That's cool. We can do that. I'm a little bit sneezy today, so just apologies in advance for my sneeziness. My sniffliness. That's starting to clear up. It really is morning and evening. It's really weird. Oh, Crowley. I got votes for Dragon. Lots of Dragon. Cyan, Laura. Well, even if we use Dragon, I'll probably have to use Cyan for the shadow. Like for the deepest parts. Although, I don't know. It looks like most people want to use Dragon, though. Sneezes are alarming. Morning Slayer. Alright, most people seem they want to do Dragon. Let's do Dragon. And maybe instead of using Cyan to deepen it, maybe we'll use a new top secret color to deepen it instead. I think I've shown this one around before anyway. It's not super top secret. It's just one of my new favorites. More Dragon, Sea Dragon Blue. So we'll mostly use this, and if I need something darker, I'll plop that in. And then, of course, a lot of white. Sea Dragon is my new favorite blue. That's funny, seriously. Storm Chaser is good, but it's not a very good sky color because it is fairly muted. I mean, you can do it, for sure. Let's see. I've got it in here. Storm Chaser is a favorite color of mine, but I just didn't really feel it for this particular... Oh, there we go. Storm Chaser. Although be aware that Storm Chaser, depending on when you got it shifted a little bit. So I actually corrected a lot of formula correcting when I was at Reaper. So the original Storm Chaser is what we have now. Anything in a bottle with a taped on label is something that I mucked with when I was at Reaper. Some colors had shifted a bit because there was a change in our supplier, the way they did things, and people hadn't realized it, probably because I wasn't there. I've come to the conclusion that I am a lot more anal than your average Reaper employee. Yes, Storm Chaser is a pretty good shadow for other blues and for some other colors as well. Alright, so I'm just going to try to figure out what I'm going to do here. Yeah, this is about the right color, the dragon. Let's get in frame. So we've got our dragon. I'm going to get some sea dragon and just thin it way down. And I'm going to drop stuff because that's what I do. And I'm wondering where my Black Knight... Ah, there's my Black Knight. Yeah, it's a really good, like, uniform blue color, for sure. And then we're going to want to build a lighter version of this. So 2 dragon and 2 pure white to start with, and we'll see how that looks. And we'll adjust as we need. And pure white. And we'll see if we can manage a little wet blending. It is pretty hot and dry here, so I'm not sure we'll be able to. Where is my lotion? Lotion, there you are. The hands are dry. I think this lotion is almost dead. Alright, there we go. A little bit better. Okay, now we're back. Back with lotion hands. Alright. Gonna get out the Black Knight liner again, my new favorite freaking liner to throw for any lining I need. So now I have a near black and a near white, which is what we'd use for NMM, but this isn't quite NMM. It's a little different. Well, let's mix up that white plus dragon color so I know where I'm at, and I need to thin down. I'm going to go pretty thin with the white. Going to go 4 drops of paint to 3 drops of water for the starter. Here we're going to go 1, yeah, we'll go 2. And then I want actually 1 drop, a little bit less than 1 drop for my Black Knight. Okay, let's get our mixing brush out and then we can get going. Yeah, I mean, Saturday, everything, since the award ceremony isn't until Saturday night, you'll be able to see all the stuff in the competition room, Slayer, if you come Saturday. It's a pretty color. Dragon plus white. And we've got pure dragon. And we've got our sea dragon. Actually, that could take a little bit more water. I don't want it to dry out so fast. Alrighty. Put away a few things. We got paints sitting here staring at me that I don't need right now. There we go. Alright, so there's our range. This is probably going to be a pain in the ass. I'm going to curse myself for deciding to do this with this model. But, why not, really? I mean, there's a couple good reasons why not. But, yeah, not right now. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do a cylindrical... I'll have to actually use some... Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, we'll see what we can do. Alright, so first I'm just going to do pretty much a mock-up on the leg here, I think. I could start on the... Starting on the top would actually make more sense. It's all going to be facing upward. So anything that's facing completely upward, we paint blue. We'll start with just dragon. So let's actually get closer and get in focus. There. Dragon's always had good coverage, even though I've thinned it a bit here. It's always been a good high coverage blue. Part of the reason for that is that it actually uses high density blue pigment mixed in to its regular base. This shoulder's a little bit weirder. This plate is facing upward. I'm pretty much going to grab the low-hanging fruit first, the plates I know are facing the sky. Decided I wanted to do this when I was at Reaper, looking at Daryl's example of this model. Because he had painted the wings in a really shiny metallic, and they were reflecting my shirt and the blue of the wall behind me. And it was a really cool effect. So I was like, alright, we're going to do that. Even if I hate it later. We'll see. If I hate it later, we'll just end up doing blue armor. But we'll probably do blue NMM at that point. If I decide that doing the reflective stuff is just going to make me want to froth at the mouth and not do it. Always a possibility. Hey there, Kara. Sup? So, but for now, we are going to try to do the environmental reflection and see if we hate it. Yeah, sometimes you do. I think here it's going to go down to about there. I need to really look at each plate and just decide. Kind of need to level the model, look at the plate, and decide where it's facing. Where is the plate actually facing? And here I think it's facing the horizon. So I think I am right to stop my blue here and go to white. Had a little bit too much blue on my brush still there. And my white is very, very thin. Probably I needed a thicker white for the starting stages here. So I'll mix that up. I always do this. I always like want a thicker white and a thinner white at the same time. Wrong thing, Anne. I'm gonna have to make a list of, like, things I need to pick up when I'm at Reaper. For ReaperCon. Top secret, like, bottles of paint. That I'm already using so much of, I need more. No, the Con Sophie is Con Sophie now. I believe this is going to be the Con Sophie for the foreseeable future. I suspect the convention models, outside the first burst of sales, don't necessarily do a lot, so... Makes sense to go to a general convention model at that point. You guys have had so many Sophies over the years. You can find a Sophie for almost anything if you look at, and they're available. So I think this one did. This one just come out for Adepticon though, because last year we did have a different ReaperCon Sophie, didn't we? Am I totally hallucinating there? Yes. Yes, this one just came out for Adepticon. The last year's ReaperCon Sophie is actually on my list of ones to paint on this stream. So this one will be a not new to convention goers, but it will be new to ReaperCon goers this year. There we go. So now I can take my thicker white. I start bringing up that plate, and probably I want to bring up a little bit of the edge of this plate too, as it's starting to turn down. Essentially, as it curves away from the sky, you're going to get closer to the horizon. The horizon tends to go to white, or an off-white, because you've got compounded thickness of the atmosphere there, and no, like, the light doesn't filter the same way. So and I think this bodysuit under the plates, I'm going to go with a really, like a dark blue or black, really close. Dark blue black, I think. Might use Nightmare. Because I just wanted to, I want the plates to really pop off of it. We used the Black Knight liner up here. I don't really want to use exactly the same color. We'll see. I'll use a really dark something, but I haven't yet decided. Yes. Any con that Reaper attends this year. Yes. Which makes sense. So I'm messing around with this plate here. I'm just like seeing how I can blend my blues. Blues can be a pain in the butt to blend if they're really dark, but since we're starting with Dragon, we actually have an easier time of it. And let's get some liner in here so you guys can see this, because of course up against the white of the background of the primer right now, you really can't see a lot. And I think we've got a plate still under that, or we've got something. It curves around. I don't know that I'd count it as a plate, but I'm pretty sure it's bodysuit under here, so... And I'm just going to use the Black Knight because this is what I've got out. If I decide to change it, I'll change it. But putting some lines around this will make it look better. I don't think she will after ReaperCon if we are going to another convention in our... I don't know if we are. Like, if we're going to use this as the convention model from here on out, you can expect her to only be available during conventions. It would be cool if we made her available on the website during conventions so that you could order her online during a con that she's available. But I'm not the one who makes those decisions, so. And I'm not sure if they intend this sculpt to be used for every con headed forward, or if we're just going to do one a year and use it for every con we go to. Anybody know? No, meant to be con exclusive. All right. Yeah, it just means you have to find a friend who's going to the con, who can maybe get more. Although I'm sure there'll be people putting them up on eBay too. Like, the secondary market pretty much kicks in with a vengeance whenever anything is, like, rare, so that you can't get it normally. Downside is, of course, those people tend to charge more money for it. Originally, they said this one is for 2025, yeah. Yeah, we talked, many years have gone by, seriously, that we talked about streaming classes from ReaperCon, but in general, the instructors are against it. I'm against it. Unless an instructor, like, specifically is okay with it. But many, like, if you do get down to an instructor like me, for example, who essentially their livelihood is their Patreon, they can't afford to put everything up for free online. Virtual ReaperCon is probably the closest thing you're going to get to it. The ReaperCon we did in 2020 or 2021, or both. I did do a class for that, the Thinning Master Series Paints class. That's still available online in perpetuity. But that's the thing, right? You put a class up online like that, and then it's available forever, and you can't sell it again. So, or you didn't get money for it necessarily the first time. So, if you're trying to make a living, that can be kind of prohibitive for those of us who are trying to make a living. Yeah, usually there's Twitch streams. Usually there's, like, a D&D game that the sculptors and painters participate in. Some of them. Or in past there has been, anyway. So we do features and stuff, but not the classes. There's also no good way to gateway it. Like, we'd have to use a totally different platform if we were going to, like, actually do paid classes streamed. Like, we'd have to start using the same platform that, like, people do when they do, like, seminars and stuff. Like, yes. Yes, that's what the streams tend to be. Yes. Some interviews, Tabletop, Reaper Live, and the MSP. Yeah. So we can see the fade there. Here I'm going to go more subtle with it because this plate is not turned as much downward. It is a little bit, so we're going to have to keep in line here. And also keep in line the curvature of the plate, which is what makes this style so hard. And actually, for some of these plates where I need a shadow or it cuts away to the earth, I'm going to be using brown liner for my shadow for the earth. Even if I bring the earth up, I'm going to bring the earth up pretty red-orange, pretty Mars kind of red planet kind of thing. Crexo, I don't do it because Reaper doesn't really produce them. Reaper has a line called Chronoscope, but it's definitely not their most popular line. Many Reaper, I would say most Reaper customers are very much fantasy enjoyers. So when I'm on Reaper's stream, I tend to paint that way. I myself prefer fantasy. But yeah, mostly for here, it's because Reaper doesn't do a lot of sci-fi models, and all their main lines are not science fiction. So that's why I tend to skew fantasy here. This model I just like, and I decided I wanted to paint it, especially because I was able to get the big one, the bigature. And I like the big models, and she's cool to paint big. Like, I don't know that I would want to paint her little, but I really like her as a big model. So, yeah, pretty much just what I wanted to do. But yes, I am definitely, as far as the genres go, I'm a fantasy girl. I prefer fantasy. Correct. Yeah, Turgeon makes an excellent point in that we don't have the personnel. And like I said, if we were going to do a completely virtual con where we were charging money for online courses, we'd have to go to a platform that would support that, right? As it is now, we don't, we just stream on our channel, but Twitch doesn't have a good way and isn't, I think, stable enough to really rely on it for paid classes. Yes, and you guys are lucky that you got it. Like, pretty much, like, when that happens, when a company puts that many resources to, like, giving you something for completely free, that's just a sign that the people in that company have their hearts in the right place. It's like, it's why I still work for Reaper, It's like that was an exception to the rule because of the way the world was trending, and Reaper is just awesome for having done it. Yeah. Hey, don't feel guilty. Like, I write fantasy novels, man. It's people who love the fantasy genre that keep me going. But yeah, I'm totally a fantasy enjoyer. I'm shameless about it. Like, I know that 40K is the more popular Warhammer game, and I still don't care. I still prefer fantasy. Most of us, most of us, even like me, we just created new classes for it. Like, because if you have a class that's your bread and butter, that you rely on, like a subject matter, that you rely on being able to spin into content, we essentially just picked content that... I picked it because it was evergreen and something that Reaper has needed, but several instructors just decided... Like, David had never done the whole bust painting, face painting thing, and it's not a class that he's likely to ever repeat because he did it online for free. So... And honestly, I respect the people who said no as well. Like, they have a living to make. They don't have, like... I would be willing to bet that the people who opted out are people who, like, actually make an income or a good portion of their income off of, their miniatures work. So, all the respect, like, sometimes you have to make the hard decision if you have to buy food or pay rent at the end of the month. Like... I will never look down on people like that. I'm in that position, or I would be in that position if not for David. Our culture, like, really, really has a hard time giving cred to artists who are trying to make a living. So, I give them all the cred. Alright, so just trying to get those plates kind of up. Kind of hyper. It depends. Yes and no. There's always going to be some people who are just going to be like, oh, I can just get this for free, and they don't care. Like, they're just going to take it for free. But yes. Yes. Some instructors, if it's a class where feedback is just very valuable, yes, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I would never have done it. Like, honestly, if I had taught, like, color theory that year, I would just never have taught color theory again anywhere, right? Because I would feel like I was ripping people off because it was free online. So I wouldn't want to charge money for it. And that's just me. So I'm putting the lining in. I'm getting the lining around here now. I've got both brown liner and my black knight. The point here is, though, that this is a very complex subject with a lot of different viewpoints, and nobody is right and nobody is wrong. At that point, the only thing that matters is how you feel about it. Yes, just blast it. Yeah! Make Paxton suffer through my painting advice and worldview. To heck with him anyway. Who hired that guy? It's always fun to make fun of Paxton, honestly. Like, Reaper needed that employee. He's gonna kill me if he hears this. Alright. So, this rounds around. Now, I'm gonna have to change the color when we get to the underside of this. But, yes. And even though this points up, it's completely under the shoulder pads. So whatever color I choose to put under here is the color it's gonna reflect here. It's gonna be weird. It's probably just going to be dark, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's a shadow there for sure, so it probably will be really dark. And actually, if I look at it, I can even see where the cast shadow is. So I might just take my brown liner and sketch that in. So that's where the shadow is, and then there's a reflected light, and there is a little bit of light leaking in from above. And then that's a reflected. So yeah, so I'm just sketching on that plate with the light in the right position, so I remember where my sections are. Oh, he's moved on to bigger and better things. I see. Huh. I'll find out when I'm there. Gonna put a tiny bit of blue in there. And actually that's more probably actually brown if I think about it, but I haven't got my brown yet, so we'll change it when we get there. Doing this kind of like we're doing sky earth technically is what we're going to be doing in a very, very, I don't know, not chrome, but we'll do sky earth. But it's very, very back and forth. It's very, very rough it in, adjust it, then you have to adjust another plate, and then you adjust both, and then you're like, oh no, now I have to adjust this. And it's a lot of pain in the butt is what it is. A lot of pain in the butt. But it looks really cool, so, why not? But, Ron used to be the person that everybody made fun of. So Paxton is just following in Ron's footsteps at this point. So here I've got a hard corner on my plate, so I can afford to put that hard line. But here, I'm going to want to blend a little bit on the side of the hand here. You still, yes, of course. Artists are all like have eternal permission to make fun of Ron. But yeah, I don't want to go with chrome. I want to go with a bit of a blended effect because there's just going to be a lot of reflected color and shadow off of this armor, and chrome would just be like brutal. But here, like if I have to fudge in a little bit of color from like the block here, I can. That's how Ron absorbs our love. It's true. I need to get a little bit more of a fade going on here. So when I thin my white down as low as that, I can get a lot better of a fade, of a blend. But I still, if I wanted it to be a really good blend, I would have to do more work with it. Make the paint thinner. So I really want my blue to be most vibrant where it's absolutely facing the sky. So I need to remember that as well. Maybe I'll grab some of the orange that I want to use and kind of see how that looks. I have to figure out which color I want for my earth. Carrie. Let's see, what have I got? What have I got? Got another top secret color. I don't know if this is the right color. It might be the right color. That might be the right color. I might want to go with a red-brown with that, though. Maybe I want to do a mixture of Cobalt and Phoenix. Maybe work with that. Cobalt scale can be good for reddish things. Just kind of looking around, poking around in my box here, seeing what I have to pull from. I think Ruddy Leather is going to be the best. I think maybe Cobalt and Phoenix. We'll see. We'll see. I kind of want the earth to be really, really orangey, so... RVE classes are all still up online. Exosod. Like, all of that stuff, to my knowledge, is... Yeah, I'm trying not to use Pathfinder stuff now, Crowley, except for, obviously, I use my Asmodeus spread a lot. But I just can't guarantee, because it's a paint line that's under contract. You can't ever guarantee it's going to stay around, and I decided to make a conscious move away from using some of the Pathfinder colors for that reason. Like, I don't want a bunch of this video content to be out there on the internet, and then the line gets canceled, and then people are like, So yes, Numeria Rust is a great color. I'm just not going to use it on the stream. I'm going to mix up a mixture of a new top secret color, which is Phoenix Flame, and Cobalt Scale. I'm going to see what I can do with that. It's going to mute down the Phoenix a lot, but I kind of want... And then I'll use a brown. I'm going to just mix these colors and see what I get. Did it talk about using Lightroom settings? Because I have had... David's had the best results with phone photos by using Adobe Lightroom app. Like, he was always dissatisfied with his phone photos of his models until he started messing around with Lightroom. I'm going to mix this up and see. Yeah, actually, that's pretty good. Alright, so Cobalt Scale plus Phoenix Flame. Phoenix Flame, kind of similar to Phoenix Red, not as washed out. There's my color. I think I'm going to run with that as an earth color. I like it. Well, at least I wanted to have something mixed up so that I could throw it in and see if I liked it. It might be a little bit desaturated, though. I might need to go to Pure Phoenix or something. It is a different color. It's got, for one thing, it's got better coverage. And the color is just a lot more what I wanted Phoenix to be. I would say it's very close. I would say it's probably more intense than, a little bit more saturated than 9005. A lot of those early colors in Aura really were not very, like, they weren't really what I wanted them to be, because at that point I was still learning from Al, and Al had things he wanted. And so I didn't have, like, full control of the line at that point. And I was also, I was learning, so I wasn't, like, going to throw my weight around and say, hey, art school says you're wrong, old man. That kind of thing. I'm just going to add in this orange to the brown liner, which is going to take it brown, but I'm also going to bring it up a bit. Let's see what I can do. I've never liked, suffice to say, I've never liked 9005. It's always been one of those colors I was dissatisfied with. There are a lot of those, or several of those in the first 54. So I wanted to make the color that I originally wanted. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get the effect I want with these colors, but we'll see. The tricky thing is I'm going to have a really light, bright orange. I think I'm probably going to have to go with Pure Phoenix or do a lot of white. We'll see. What if I just use that orange? Interesting. But yeah, there's some colors like that. There are a lot of colors in the first 54 that I'd like to reformulate and change a little. So Phoenix Flame is one of the ones that I messed around with when I was at Reaper, just to see if I could get what I originally wanted out of it. So, top secret color. You'll get, Thanks for that, EXO. Thanks for looking that up. The hardest part about doing this is having to blend light to dark to light, have it look right, get your blend in, have the lights and darks you need. If I decide this is too much of a pain in the butt or I don't like how it looks, we'll totally just go with blue NMM armor. Sky blue NMM armor would still look pretty cool. Let's see. So I'm just messing here to see if I like it. See if I can make it look cool enough that I want to do it, and see how fast I can move with it. We'll see. Jury's out still. I'll keep messing with it though. So everything up here is pretty boring, so in order to get something cool, I might need to add the sun, a bright specular highlight. But if I do that, that means I also need to worry about that like coming in here, probably. Just kind of putting little dots where I think that would work. Again, don't know if we're going to stick with this, but I'm going to play with it and see. A lot of this model is going to be playing around. So I'm kind of creating a round light. And now I'm going to get that sea dragon and see what I can do here. Do some sort of weird crazy effect. Just because this shoulder pad is a little bit rounded. Yeah, miniatures photography, it can be simple once you have everything dialed in. Learning how to do it, it's the learning curve. And there's elements of it that have to do with the camera you're using, and there's elements of lighting, and there's elements of background color, backdrop color. And those things will change depending on, what you're using. So like the camera you're using can also affect how much you can get away with in the backdrop color. I'm just playing around here, trying to see if I can get something to work. Probably need to add a little bit. Of a slow dry medium. If I'm going to wet blend at this point, it's easier to do it in the winter. So I'm going to put that in there. I've been experimenting with the Golden Open thinner, which is, as far as I can tell, a really mild slow dry. And by mild, I mean it doesn't seem to affect adhesion, which is nice. It's actually what I would want. That's why I stopped using slow dries, drying retarders, because I felt like too often it would make the paint not stick to the model very well, and that was a no-go for me. There we go. So I'm using just a little bit. I'd put a drop of this thinner onto my palette, and I'm just kind of blending it into the MSP. I put my brush into the paint, and then I dip the tip of the brush into the thinner to see if it'll let me blend a little longer. And the answer appears to be yes. Yeah, that is the problem with trying to do lighting effects and then trying to get photos. It can fight you. That and, yeah, metallics, trying to photo metallics is really hard. And I don't know if I'm going to like this effect, but I'm still going to mess with it. Kind of blending that light blue, the dragon plus white, over the top of the sea dragon now, just to make it kind of blend in a little bit better. Nope, sorry. Yeah, it is. Photography of minis is really a whole other hobby. Trying to get light down there on the shoulder pad now, in that little crevice. But yeah, I feel like, especially with lighting effects, it's hard to capture unless you've painted it with that in mind and you painted it, you know, from a very specific angle. There's a lot of us, when we're doing light, whether we understand it or not, we're kind of adjusting for the fact that we're looking at the model from several different angles, even if they're very slightly different. And whereas if you want something to have a perfect lighting effect that shows like fantastic in a photograph, you kind of have to paint it from a single angle, the angle the camera is going to see, which is a kind of a different beast, because then from other angles it may not look as good, right? That the nice thing about painting miniature is that, you know, you can kind of tweak things a little bit so that it looks good from different angles, but that's a detriment to when the camera comes into play, or it can be. Or if you have more than one lighting effect in play, again, that from different angles, right? And it can be hard for the camera to capture that. So I'm doing kind of a thing like that. I kind of like that, actually. It needs more blending, but it's decent. Pretty cool, actually, all things considered.
Hi, Kiki. How's it going? Big Snoot? What's up? What's up, Big Snoot? You're trying to get fur on my model, aren't you? You are. I know that look. That hi mama throws fur at model. So as far as the angle here, the light, I'm kind of looking at the curve of the surface. As the surface comes up, it's not quite the totally upward, straight up and down surface. It's a little bit off for this sunlight flash. And so I'm also looking at that same angle, kind of trying to judge it or close when I'm like judging where to put the white flash here if I decide to do this. Again, this is all like hypothetical at this point. I'm just kind of playing around. I'm using this arm as a proof of concept in order to figure out how I want to do everything. So there's a difference now between the white here, which is as the plate curves toward the horizon, versus the white here, which is a light source. Which is why this sort of thing, yeah, added texture, yes. Why this sort of thing is such a pain in the butt. And when you're dealing with a cylinder, you're dealing with a line of light. When you're dealing with a rounded surface, you're dealing with a ball of light. And this is when you are tilting the cylinder, you're going to get, like if I do this with my brush, let's see if I can get it to work right. The light is a little bit off here. Let's see here. Okay. So as I tilt the brush to that angle, you can see that the light is thicker, a thicker line at the top, and then it trails off. You can see it trail off right about there. And that's what this light is going to do here, because it's at that same angle. Richard. Kiki hairbrushes would be a disaster because she has curly fur. What? I was just saying you have curly fur. I wasn't like insulting your lineage or anything. Totally insulting your lineage. Enough! Settle it down now or you get exiled. Good girl. Good girl. She's 3 now, so she has like... Now here on this area, it's still a cylinder, but I have to figure out how to do it. Bring that back in and then think about it. It might just be a hard line or a hard flare right at the edge. So I'm bringing in that sea dragon. Just a little line of it here. And this would be pretty nightmarish if you were trying to do it on the 28mm version. It's already hard working with... oh no, I totally dipped my finger into my slow dry. Or into my medium. It's already hard if you're working on this big guy, big girl. But, like, you would run out of room fast for this sort of thing. So that's starting to look pretty cool. I want it more subtle. Like, I want it to stay subtle. I don't want it to get too punchy. So this, of course, is a super, super advanced effect, which we don't do on this stream very often. But, you know, why not? I was pretty much in the, why not mode this morning, so I was like, let's just go for it. And if I don't like it, then we'll just change it. So, again, not perfect blends, but they're looking pretty good. Considering the amount of time it's taking me. If you're going to try perfect blending, it takes a long time to get it that way. Right now I'm painting my light blue over the top of the white, so I can blend it out a little bit more. And you'll go a little bit too far one way, and then you'll have to bring it back the other way. But at the end, it looks really cool. So it's up to you whether you feel like, you know, it's worth it. I have to fade in this side. I have not done it. I totally put that drop of medium in the wrong place. It's where my finger wants to rest when I'm reloading my brush. It's just totally sad. And we'll see. I'll have to glaze probably. Yep, translucent layers glaze for eternity. Yep. You got it, swag. That's pretty much it. I haven't glazed at all. I'm just setting things up with like quick wet blends and a little bit of layering, so. Just a little bit of pop out in that white. Last day of the month, I have a video to edit for my Patreon today. But thankfully, I'm otherwise caught up and looking good. I need to figure out what I'm doing for July. Really gentle glazing. I do some spot glazing too, which is just like tiny little glazes. But I want to at least set up the highlights so that they look good, and I'm liking this so far. So my white needs to be actually more thinned if I'm going to layer with it. Even a 1-to-1 usually isn't enough. Hello, John. We're doing crazy Sophie things today. Because, you know, Daryl did such a nice job on this model that now I have to set out to, like, make it ridiculous. Otherwise, why bother? Because Daryl's job is good enough. Daryl's paint job on this is really good. I need to add a little bit more water to my dragon, I think, if I'm going to start layering. Because dragon has more coverage, you do have to thin it a little bit more. But yeah, I do kind of like that orangey red under reflection. I need to highlight it more, and we need to get it a few more places. It'll show up mostly on this leg. Maybe a little bit. Like definitely show up here. That'll be a topic for another day. But yeah, I figured working on Convention Sophie when ReaperCon is coming up is a good topic. It'll take us a while to paint her. Though if I don't super blend everything and I just decide to make it, decent but do the cool effect, that'll be, it probably won't take us that long, relatively speaking. So again, this is kind of a cylinder. It's a truncated cylinder. It's been cut off, right? But it's still a cylinder, so I'm still going to do that kind of streaky effect. But here, it's more lateral. It's not as up and down. And so it's still going to taper. It's still going to be a slightly wider light at one end than at the other. But it's going to go all the way down the plate. It is. It's very close, Reaper. I'm doing Sky Earth, but not Chrome. So I'm not looking for a super hard horizon line on a curved plate. I've got a super hard horizon line here where the plate bends, but I want a more blended horizon line otherwise. We'll see if I can pull it off without going absolutely insane. If I decide it's just too much trouble or it's not looking good, then I'll just go to do a blue kind of sky NMM kind of thing, but all blue. Using a top secret color today for the blue shadow here. It's Sea Dragon. You want that shadow to kind of parallel the white. Because I'm liking how the blues look a lot. But yeah, so like Blue Sky Earth, we'll end up just doing it all blue in the end if I don't like it, how it's working. It just takes a lot of little tiny blending, that's all. Little tiny blending, little tiny glazing, little tiny layering. So tiny, so cute. But yeah, that looks cool, you gotta admit, that looks freaking cool. Not a perfect blend at all. But when you start it, you've got to just get the colors right. You've got to get your highlights in the right places. Highlights and shadows in the right places. And the other thing we want to do, since we're essentially doing this as like a blue NMM, is we want to outline the outside of each plate with pure white. It's also darker in person. I wonder if I put a white palette in, if you guys can. Yeah, you start to see how it's darker when I put the palette in the frame. So yeah, it's really cool, but it's also a pain in the butt. Really cool, but pain in butt. I think I've got a card over here somewhere that I can use. Yeah, it's Sci-Fi Sophie, actually. It's her card. So I want to put more of that blue in. These are the same angle, this little plate. So I'm pretty much going to continue what I'm doing over on the other side. And they should be more or less in line because these plates are pretty much aligned to each other. So I should be able to see the light and the shadow. I should be able to paint them as if they're one plate. And yeah, there'll be a lot of glazing probably to bring this all together. And she technically has a little bit, she has a little bit of knuckles showing out here that might also be metal, like finger guards, that I just painted over completely because they're so small. You wouldn't even be able to see them probably on the 28. Alright, now I want to bring in my earth color here and do the back side of this, just... And I need to... There's some things still that I'm going to kind of block in the undersides instead of trying to paint reflections, like the back of this handle for the sword. It's just going to go dark. Happy Monday, Roger. Ah, and then we've got another cut here and another plate. Alright, so that plate actually curves around, so I need to erase that brown liner line, which is the easy way to do that. It's just to paint white over it. So this is actually facing a different direction. So I want a pretty bright white line right at that demarcation zone, and then I probably want to go darker blue. I also have to look at the direction here, but I think we're still hitting the sky from this plate, so I think it's still going to be blue. I'm just actually going to put it in, put the sea dragon in. Leave that white line there. Kiki, that's enough, please. Little Miss Woofy. So yeah, we're pretty much just going to keep inching along here, trying to figure out... There we are. Now that I know there's a plate up there, and I have to do it. I wanted that dark blue next to there so that the white was kind of isolated and I can bring up another reflection back here. I also will end up downplaying the blue up here a bit. I think fading it out a little bit more in places. So Bye, Crowley. Thanks for hanging out with us. More light blue. And chopping that in, taking a look at it. The only reason this gets an extra bit of that white line is that it's actually at an angle. But we do need to start reinforcing that white line around the edge. So edge highlighting with white, which may or may not work for this style of NMM, but we're gonna look. The only way to know if it's gonna work sometimes is to just try it. So I'm just gonna white around it. So I'm just edge highlighting with my stronger white. And that's going to help, especially on these underside plates where they're coming up to white anyway. And that means I actually want to do this down at the bottom too, which would be interesting. To include this as part of the plate, even though the color is different. Interesting. So it's almost like you're lining each plate twice. You're lining with the brown liner or the Black Knight liner, depending on what you're using, and you're lining around all the metal. I have an extra little bit there that didn't get taken off. 1 second. I see a rough spot on that thumb. Grab my knife. Oh, wow, it's already 11. Time flies when you're trying to paint Sky Earth. Trying is the operative word in that sentence. I think the wings are going to be the coolest part. There we go. Had a little bit of support or something that was left there and didn't see it. Alright, looks like that is actually, I think I'm going to say that's like, I kind of want to call that a glove. I actually kind of want to paint this part that's kind of cupping around her hand. I don't want to paint it as metal. I don't think it belongs there. I think I'm actually going to truncate artificially, because I wouldn't want metal on my palm holding a sword. So I see kind of an edge here, and I'm going to force that and paint it as if it is just a metal edge right there. So that little line that I just put in is just paint plastic surgery, because I want the rest of this part that's curving, I really feel like it's a glove. So I'm going to do it that way, even though it was part of that plate, and it may have been just like part of the sculpt that accidentally like either didn't take, or the sculptor forgot that little tiny bit, or whatever. You know, Bobby is amazing, but he's not absolutely perfect, just mostly. And I'm going to paint over this with that shadow color. Using dark for the bodysuit gives us high contrast. It enables us to, honestly, to avoid painting super complex curved surfaces in this style. So it allows us to cheat just a little bit where it counts so that this doesn't totally break our brains. And I'm going to do that highlight. Again, that's completely constructed. There is no edge there, but I'm going to create it just with paint. Yeah, I think it is going to be cool. We'll see. It's definitely something we haven't done before on stream, so every once in a while, there you go, there's your plates. And again, you're not going to get the orange on this one because it's not wrapping around to that extent, right? So let's back up. So this has the potential to be cool. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this kind of trial. I think I can stick with this. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to mark over here. Remember, take your liner and mark where you've got hard shadows. Kind of curves up there. Curves up that way. So I can hold the model underneath the light in the right position, and then I can paint in the dark shadow there. So really quick, let's just block that in. So this is dark. It's the hair right there. The light doesn't fall otherwise. I'm just going to do a quick block here. Quick block in. I'm going to use this opportunity to wet blend that shadow. And that way I'll be able to work from that. See it there? I'll be able to work with that when I come back. All right. So far nothing making me gnash my teeth and pull out my hair yet. But it will look cool. I'll probably do hazard stripes on the chainsword because I love hazard stripes. Each of these little teeth is going to reflect a little bit unless I paint them matte. The wings are going to be the coolest part for sure. Legs should look really neat too once we get around to doing it. This color that I'm doing, actually I'm going to grab my big brush and just put a bit of a coat down there. Just going to block in. Using some brown liner mixed with this to get my shadows and to take down the orange just a little bit. But if I have this, the ground color painted in, then as I put in the reflections, it's going to be very obvious where that's coming from. Put a little bit of white in there. Just pretty much just doing a real rough wet blend right now. And I'm going to have to write down all these colors because I wasn't using anything standard that I usually use. But whatever color I'm putting in the basing, that's the color I want to be reflecting. So, bye, Nara. Thanks for hanging out. So, keeping this rock a little bit darker. It's in shadow, a lot of shadow under her. So we want that orange and blue. And I'll tweak this color and change it a lot. This is just a base. Mixture again of cobalt scale and a top secret color called Phoenix Flame. But yeah, I just want to get that color in there so that, and I don't know what color we're going to do the cloth yet. No idea. Random pipes on our bases here. Yeah, I just want to block this in real quick. Then we can end the stream. There we go. Alrighty. So we've got that orangey color. Again, I'll be probably highlighting it with, like, I mix in a little bit of like an ochre yellow or something. I'll, you know, bring up this rock a little bit more. But yeah, so kind of working with that way. I just wanted to get that color on there so that I know where I'm going. Yeah, it's throwing off the camera's color balance. Yep, it's orange. Yep. Yeah, and I'll warm it up and bring it a lot more toward orange and white. But I want to, as I said, I want it to reflect the color correctly up onto the armor. Like when I start putting that in, I want it to make visual sense. So I just want to block that in. But yeah, sorry if it's colored like raw meat. Oh, zoomed in color. Yeah. Yep. Let's see if I can get it to go. No. It's just, the reds are weird with this camera, and this is a very red-orange. Don't worry, we'll pull it back once other colors are on there. But I need this so that I know where I'm going. So, does look like raw meat. Yeah, it's more orange on my screen and more pink on you guys' screen. So I'll have to add more yellow. And again, that's because my camera just wants to over gamma the reds. There we go. That's what we did today. They're very steak-shaped, yes. Hey, she's on the planet of steak rocks. I can't say that I wouldn't want to go there. But yeah, we'll definitely do some adjustment to that color. I'll be adding in yellows and ochres. I'll be adding in, some more buff colors to those rocks. I'll be adding in, making sure that I desaturate the sides and stuff. So that's okay. We can have the World of Steak Rocks. I'm there. Sophie on the World of Steak Rocks. I could also, it's partially because I used Cobalt Scale, right, mixed with the Phoenix Flames, so it's definitely a red-orange mix. So if I went less red and more orange-brown, then I wouldn't get the Steak Rocks. But now I like the Steak Rocks, so you're all going to have to suffer with Steak Rocks. I am gonna swatch this color, however. I'm gonna put it on my card and call it Steak Rocks. Glad you like her. Glad you like her. Yes, Steak Rocks. Let me write down Phoenix Flame Cobalt Scale. Steak Rocks. The reason I'm going for this color, by the way, is that when I was looking at Daryl's model reflecting the colors in the studio, the shirt I was wearing that day was my really bright red-orange coral shirt. And the coral and the deep blue looked so cool together on the model that I decided I was just going to paint this like that. So that's why we're doing this. We're doing this because I wore an orange shirt and had orange ground and blue sky reflecting on the wings of Daryl's Sophie, and I thought it looked freaking killer. And so that's why we're going to suffer. Steak Rocks forever. Yes, Steak Rocks forever. Oh, apparently I stole 2 extra pair of glasses from the other room. And I need to... The stakes are high. Raise the stakes! We can make all sorts of stakes jokes now. I'm going to write down my blues real quick here, too. Dragon. Sea Dragon. So we're using all the dragon blues. Dragon. Sea Dragon. Pretty much all the sea creature blues or colors are pretty cool. The new top secret colors. Sea Dragon Blue and Sea Turtle Teal both rock. Just saying. My two favorite colors, I think. Alright. So added in other colors. Her skin tone is still muted, so I can get away with the muted rocks probably. And as I glaze over the blue and bring it a little bit, it's just a little more pale, so it's still going to work, I think. We'll find out. We will find out. Tune in next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Actually, next time we won't be working with that. Tomorrow's basing day, guys, but I'm going to give the waterfall a rest because I feel like I need to work on something else. We might build a slab of rock space for Noli and paint Bird Guy's base. If I feel like doing some green stuff, I might work on Bird Guy's staff topper. I don't know. Or we might just build a rocky base for an old guy. That might just be it. Because, yeah, I'm based out a bit. That waterfall base has hurt me. So I need to take a break. So, yeah, but we'll be basing day tomorrow. So, thank you all so much. I'm going to call it here. Thank you, Quindy, for modding. Love to Kuro. Although she can't hear me. And, yeah, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you again. Remember, I am not streaming Friday. It is 4th of July, Reaper's birthday. My day to make ribs. And so I'll see you guys later. All right. Thank you, and goodbye.